Portland has felt the burn. That's right, Bernie Sanders drew another gigantic crowd, this time in Portland, Maine, last night, topping about 7,500 people, according to campaign ads. Now, Sanders had this speech, and of course, the kinds of speeches that Sanders gives are ones that fire people up. They said, and you know, he goes and rails against Wall Street, which is why we love him. Wall Street and the corporations. He said, from Maine to California, the American people understand that establishment politics and establishment economics is not working for the middle class. They understand the greed of Wall Street and the greed of corporate America is destroying the middle class in this country. Now, he has been bringing, like, it's this rhetoric. It's just stuff like this. The stuff that he's saying, his message. This is what's bringing in the crowds. This is what's bringing in the crowds. And so what about the crowds? Well, he's been bringing 10,000 in Madison, of course, Wisconsin, 5,000 in Denver, and 2,500 in Council Bluffs, Iowa. And, man, the crowds, I think they're only going to get larger, if not stay the same. A lot of people are excited for Sanders, man. A lot of people are feeling the burn. So much so that actually the Clinton campaign is kind of starting to notice. They're kind of going, ooh, oh, that senator from Vermont? I'm getting a little worried about him. In fact, there was Clinton communications director Jennifer Palmieri. Now, she was on Morning Joe, and they started talking about the campaign. And even though Sanders is still behind in national polls, I mean, let's be honest, he's still got a lot to catch up. However, he's not an established name, unlike Hillary Clinton, which is everybody knows who Hillary Clinton is, right? She's got the name recognition. That's why I think one of the reasons that she's ahead in national polls. Because a lot of people don't know enough about Bernie Sanders and haven't really heard enough about Bernie Sanders. That's a message that they need to get out. That is unless, of course, the Hillary campaign co-opts his entire platform. And that's something that she has the option of doing. And for the people who are unaware of Bernie Sanders and what he stands for and what his message, that could be a way for the Clinton campaign to come in and just take the fire, the thunder out of the Sanders campaign by completely co-opting this message. Now, a lot of hardcore Sanders supporters are not going to buy that. But the people out there who haven't heard of Sanders before or heard of his message, that's a definite danger. So let's hope the Hillary campaign decides not to go in that direction. But nonetheless, they are worried about him. Palmieri said he will be a serious force for the campaign. I don't think that will diminish. She's right. He is starting to be a very serious contender. So much so, as I said, that the Hillary campaign getting kind of worried. Now, there are surrogates such as Claire McCaskill that recently went out and said, well, he's completely unelectable, and the crowds, yeah, he's like Ron Paul. Not really worried about it. It's an extreme message. Now, the Hillary campaign, Hillary Clinton, Claire McCaskill have had a bit of a rocky history. So I think this is just Claire McCaskill coming out and trying to sort of ingratiate herself after burning Hillary Clinton twice. 2008, she backed Barack Obama. So they're not exactly friendly. So here's a more than willing surrogate ready to come out there on her own to try and get herself into Hillary Clinton's good graces. So that's some interesting stuff there. And that's why, of course, you see Claire McCaskill out there on Morning Joe last month attacking Bernie Sanders. Palmieri, of course, speaking for the Clinton campaign, says, look, no, he is a serious candidate. Why? I think the media and these campaigns are starting to take him seriously because he raised $15 million. Once he got the money, they started to take him a little bit more seriously. It's funny how that works in our politics. But the thing about Sanders that I like is that he's been getting these. He raised all this money not by taking bribes from Wall Street corporations, but actually from donors. 87% of his donations came in packages of $250 or less. So it's not like he's getting super PAC money. It's not like he's getting billionaires just pumping money into his campaign. These are everyday working Americans that are donating to Bernie Sanders, and he still raised $15 million. That's significant. That's incredibly significant. More significant are some of the polls in some of the early states, the primary states. Now, according to a new CNN WMUR New Hampshire primary poll, remember, New Hampshire, pretty important. Iowa, pretty important in the process. Okay, and even Clinton's Jennifer Palmieri says he's going to do really well in New Hampshire. He's going to do well in Iowa. Now then, of course, she goes to, but he won't do well in the general, and that's the message. That's the message that Hillary Clinton is going to say. Yeah, he's going to do well among liberals, but I'm the only electable one here. He'll never survive a primary because he's a socialist, or a general because he's a socialist. Watch, they'll start doing that. Well, they already have done that. Though he'll never survive the general, but I think they're going to really ramp up that message in the coming months, especially if he starts doing really well, if he does really well in New Hampshire and in Iowa. Now, according back to this poll, right, Clinton holds an 8-point advantage over Sanders. 43% behind Clinton and 35% backing Sanders. Interesting. Now, at first they were looking at his poll numbers and saying the support wasn't coming from Hillary Clinton. It was actually coming from Elizabeth Warren. Now, that support has started to peel off Hillary Clinton. It started to peel off Hillary Clinton and go to Bernie Sanders, which is really interesting and actually really significant. You've got former Clinton people saying, finally an alternative. Sanders. Finally, let's go over here. Now, they did a breakdown of the demographic, and this could spell some potential problems for Bernie Sanders. Right now, he's been doing weak among women, right? And among Latinos and African Americans. Right now, in the primary preferences, men, younger voters, and liberals have moved towards Sanders. Among men, 52% backed Clinton in the May survey. That fell to 32% in the new poll, of course, going over to Bernie Sanders. While 47% now support Bernie Sanders, among liberals, a 51 to 16% Clinton advantage has reversed to a 48 to 41% Sanders edged. Can you see that? Clinton, 51% versus Sanders is 16. It reversed in a month to 48 to 41%. That is significant. That is huge. And when it comes to in the party, huge. And among voters under age 50, Clinton has fallen from majority support to a near even split. 37% back Clinton, while 39% favor Sanders. And if Sanders starts to get the women vote and the African American and Latino vote, it's over. That's going to be significant. Now, Clinton, of course, has a wide lead when it comes to women. Hillary Clinton's been very progressive on women's issues. So let's not discount that. She has been very good on women's issues. I'm not saying Hillary is not progressive in some areas, but she is establishment when it comes to the economy, which is really what Sanders is trying to push here. A better economic model for working Americans. And that's right now, that's what we need.